Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
Something very precious away from me. I would never talk to her ever again. I would never be able to hold her again. But I forgive you and have mercy on your soul. You hurt me. You hurt a lot of people. But I forgive you. And I forgive you.
Charleston shooting, main topic. Who do you blame? You want to talk about guns? Don't call this show. I'm not interested. You want to talk about what Obama said about guns? Don't call this show. I'm not interested. I'm not going to react to that devil. I'm not reacting to the race hater in the White House. And I don't want you on my show if that's all you want to talk about. I want to talk about the loss of human life. I want to talk about how this piece of garbage, coward vermin from hell took away 9 lives, the best of the African-American community. And make no mistake about it, the Christian African-American community is the bedrock. It's the spine of the African-American community. It is the only hope for the African-American community. And this coward chose to kill 9 of them. The coward was a racist. The coward was a segregationist. The coward was a sicko. Why didn't the coward, the brave coward, go into, let us say, a neighborhood in Baltimore run by the Crips and Bloods and express his rage there? Could it be because he would have been killed instantly? Of course. So he chose a church group, the best of the African-American community, wiped off the planet in the United States of America in 2015. Christians killed in the United States of America in a church, not in Syria, not in Iraq, but in the United States of America in 2015. To me, it's an act of terrorism. I know many of you don't want to hear that because you've come to think that only Muslims can commit terror, which is largely true around the world. But here we have an atheist committing an act of terror. A brainwashed atheist, an atheist whose soul was destroyed in the public schools, destroyed by the American Medical Association, an atheist whose soul was annihilated by drugs, drug-related offenses, dropped in and out of school. This child was raised without Christian values. He was raised with no values whatsoever. He was raised on the liberal credo, the credo of Obama and Hillary Clinton, which is do what you feel like doing, that there is no Christianity. If it feels good, do it. You want to engage in sex? Go ahead. You want to be a woman while you're a man? Go ahead. You want to use drugs? Go ahead. You don't feel good? Pop a pill. You don't feel good? Go to your crackpot with a stethoscope and he'll give you some drugs. You see, all Christian values have been driven out of the schools and the culture by the liberals. They've been replaced with a vacuum. Do as you please. Do whatever you want. So it's not only about racism here. It's about the anti-Christian drug, sex, and rock and roll culture that has turned some of our youth into robots. Robots, social pathologues, sheeple with no values, some of them monsters who have no values except to destroy others. And yet there's the issue of the father who gave him a gun, allegedly. Now, you know it's a felony to give a gun to someone who has been arrested and has a criminal record. That's a story unto itself. The doctor should be investigated for having given him drugs. Dangerous drugs. Dangerous drugs. So we have a lot to talk about on the program. If you want to chime in here, 855-400-7282. Will you be in church this Sunday? Do you fear something like this happening at your church Sunday or another day? Does this rattle your faith? Does this rattle your faith in any way? Now, some of you understand how dangerous the world is in which we live. You have the Southern Christian, whatever that group, now I assume the Southern Poverty Law Center, which in my opinion is a terrorist organization. In my opinion, if we had a true Republican administration, they would investigate the amount of money that the SPLC has shaken down from groups they hate, and they would go after them to see why they have stirred up such race hatred in the country. You want to look at haters in the country? Look no further than the Southern Poverty Law Center and take a look at the things they've stolen from people under the guise of liberalism. That's one man's opinion, of course. I know many of you have a lot to say about this, just as the president immediately went after guns and gave a boohoo face, pretending he was so saddened by this shooting in North Carolina, South Carolina, Charleston. Just so saddened by it. And then he dashed off on Air Force One, where he had a happy face as he raised money in Beverly Hills. Sad face, happy face, sad face. Yes, a man for all seasons. Meanwhile, the First Lady and the First Daughters are having a shopping trip in Italy, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer. One of the First Daughters is wearing ripped jeans as she gets off Air Force One. What a great image it is for America. And we're not allowed to say anything. The king has no clothes. The king's family has no protocol. We're not supposed to notice that. And we don't have to say a word about the mother-in-law and the daughters flying around on a shopping trip in Italy. Can you believe this? Can you believe what we're living through? And Hillary blamed Donald Trump for the shooting. True to course. I think we'll have that sound for you in a moment. Speaking of Donald Trump, he'll be on the show in the next hour. We'll ask him some great questions. Always a pleasure to have Donald Trump on the show. If you care to join the program, the phone number is 855-400-7282. How do you feel about my opinion? I told you that the black church is the bedrock of the African-American community, in case you missed it. I told you that the Christian African-American practitioner is the only hope for the African-American community. What I'm astounded by is that the so-called conservatives in the media who keep talking about family values and keep talking about the black family having been disintegrated by liberalism, father being replaced by government, haven't gotten this, how they don't understand what was killed here. This was an attack upon the last vestiges of hope for the African-American community. Do you understand what this is symbolically? Do you understand how heartbreaking this is for everyone in the United States of America? Doesn't matter what your race is. I mean, your heart should be ripped out by this. I couldn't sleep last night. I was intimidated by my emotions. I frankly was intimidated to go on the radio today for fear that I wouldn't be able to control this show to say what I really wanted to say. But guess what? I'm in total control. I feel that I've said exactly what I wanted to say perfectly on the Savage Nation, and I didn't miss a beat. And now I'll take your calls. I will take your calls right now on the Savage Nation. And oh, by the way, what's wrong with carrying a weapon into a church? Why shouldn't parishioners now be forewarned? Whether it's another punk like this or someone who hates Christians as they're doing in the Middle East, why shouldn't you be armed to protect yourself and your family? You understand now that the church is no longer a sanctuary in America. Everything is, the doors have been kicked down everywhere. There's no sanctuary in America. Liberalism has broken the doors of every sanctuary in the country. They have polluted everything with filth. They have broken the minds of our youth with drugs. They have broken the soul of America with their pornography. And they've broken America with their disrespect for God and the family and the flag, by the way. You know, what would be the proper punishment for this psychotic punk is simple. Of course it won't happen, but I fantasize. Oh, I know there'll be a trial and they'll say he was on medication and he should be given a light sentence. No. I think he should be sent to a prison that is largely African American, and the guard should be given the day off. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com. It's the only company I trust to protect my wealth. Call 800-BUY-COIN. Going to be playing gospel music all day today, sort of in a memory for these 9 dead souls killed by this ghoul, this monster. I don't know if you've ever been in a all-black church where gospel music is played. I have. I've never forgotten it as long as I live. I never will forget it. They're the bedrock of the African-American community, and their heart was cut out by this monster. Their heart was just ripped out by this monster. And so who do you blame? Oh, there's a lot of blame to go around. A lot of blame. Let's start with liberalism, which has stripped America of right from wrong. Remember the 10 Commandments used to be in the schools? Can you believe that? Do you know that when I was a kid, there used to be the 10 Commandments in a public school? Thou shalt not kill. At least it told you right from wrong. Red light, green light. No more. Hey, you're born a boy, you want to be a girl? Go ahead, go for it. That's not amoral. In fact, anyone who criticizes it is a bigot. That's liberalism. You don't think it has ramifications, do you? Well, it does, damn it. Don't tell me I don't see it for what it is. And the hatred being imposed upon the people in this country by this criminal government, flooding America with criminals, rapists, murderers, thieves. You think it isn't affecting people and driving them crazy? You think because that phony, that fundraising fraud smiles so much, it's not affecting tens of millions of people who are ready to snap? Oh, there's a lot of blame to go around. You can point your fingers at the Confederate flag. You can point your fingers at the apartheid patches. I never heard of them. I don't know where he got them from. I have no idea. You can point your fingers at the AMA who dispensed drugs like Kool-Aid. You can point your fingers at the father who gave this kid a gun. You can point it at anyone you want. But at the core of it, it's the hollowing out of America's soul by the disease, the mental illness that Hillary Clinton represents called liberalism. And make no mistake about it, she's marching with the liberal flag, defending illegals who are overrunning our every institution. Meanwhile, in Europe, they're building walls. In Europe, they're saying no more. In Europe, they're saying get them the hell out of here. In Europe, they're saying we still have a border, a language, and a culture, and they can go to hell. That's what they're doing in Europe. Liberal Europe that Obama refers to every day in every way. Oh, there's no shootings like this in Europe. There aren't? Oh, no, there aren't, huh? What about happened up in Norway a few years ago? You forgot that one? When that guy went insane and killed all those kids at a camp? You remember that tragedy? Oh, it happens in Europe. Oh, it happens in Europe, Mr. Obama. But right now, the Europeans have had enough of being overrun by Muslims, by Africans. They don't want it anymore. They're losing their identity, and they don't want it, and they're fighting back. Central European states are fighting back. They're fighting against the corrupt, degenerate European Union. Record gains for anti-immigrant party and Danish vote. Top of the Drudge Report. Greek island swamped by refugees. Mexico now deporting more immigrants than the USA. How come Mexico, which dumps their garbage on us, how come Mexico doesn't want immigrants from Guatemala? Why? How come Mexico deports El Salvadorans, Hondurans, and such? How come they deport them? I thought they're telling us to take the people that they can't take care of, and they throw them on us and tell us that we're racist? Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, Zuckerberg, the devil, Zuckerberg, that phony, only wants cheap foreign labor, as does Microsoft, as does every company in America. There's a lot of blame to go around for the madness in this country right now. But all the blame goes to the top. The Obama administration is giving tips to illegals on getting work permits. They're destroying our borders, language, and culture. And don't think people aren't snapping. You say, wait a minute, Savage, what does this have to do with the shooting in Charleston? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Thought I'd bring it up, though. You don't like my rhetoric? Too damn bad. I represent America, not Hillary Clinton. She represents a bunch of phony bankers and banksters. And she claims she's one of the regular people. Are you kidding me? She represents the worst evil the country could ever imagine. My friend.